It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 104. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is November 24th, 2024, a great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a loyal Dep Lewis Show listener or a new listener, whatever you may be. Thank you for being here. We are going to get into it. So the first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Just go ahead and do that off the bat, and you'll never miss an episode of Dep Lewis Show each week. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. All the places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. So hopefully anywhere you would like to listen to a podcast. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow, to come check out some gameplay from time to time with some video games. And if you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. And then Venmo at DepLewisShow is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And the show for today, we're going to have our three sections as always. The first section will be what video games have I been playing since I've last talked to you on the microphone. So all my personal video game thoughts and happenings. And the mid-section, which is not mid in quality, is the middle section, where I'll tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So all types of news and releases and rumors, speculations, specs, all sorts of things there in the mid-section. Maybe even some business dealings, you never know. And the third section is where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world, so the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I'm going to get into the worldwide world of sports, which I do every week. And that's the same plan for today, because the Carolina Panthers, the greatest team in the NFL, are coming off their bye week. They're coming off a 2-game win streak. They're playing at home in Charlotte against the back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. So going to be a tough test. Is Taylor Swift going to show up in Charlotte today? Who knows? It seems unlikely. All reports are pointed to no. T Swift has not been to an away game yet, but is it going to be to see the Panthers? I think that would be the perfect team for T Swift to come in and see the great, young, rising, tough, gritty Carolina Panthers out there fighting on the field for a win, trying to get their third win of the year would be nice. So we're going to see. I hope the game's going to be competitive today, and we're going to talk more about that in the final section of the show. We're going to get into my sports fandom. But if you hear some noise going on, there's people are turnt here today in North Carolina getting ready for the Carolina Panthers game versus the Chiefs. So we'll talk about that more later. But we're going to get into video games first. That's the main thing of this show. So the first section, what have I been playing? What video games have I been playing? And I went out into the world last week. I went to a new video game store I've never been to, and it was exceptionally cool. And I traded some games in, and I bought a console. So can you believe that? I got a new console, but it is a Nintendo 64. So a console from back in the day. So I went with some retro gaming here. I traded in some modern games. I got a Nintendo 64, and I got a couple games with it. So I bought Banjo Kazooie, I got Mario Kart, and I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. But on the Mario Kart front and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I can't really play yet because I need a memory pack for the controller, and I could even use an expansion pack to help the graphical fidelity out. So Banjo Kazooie has been the main game I've been playing, and it's been a pretty cool little retro journey. It's been fun having it. And I was really just wanting to check out their old consoles, possibly buy an old console and have it as something you can just plug and play. You don't have to worry about updates or internet. You can just plug the game in, play the game, and something where I can pick up a game from time to time and check them out and shop them on the internet, and just something kind of fun to keep up with. So it's kind of a little bit of a novelty, but it's been a pretty fun thing so far. So I have an N64 hooked up to my flat screen TV. I had to buy you have to buy an adapter. So they had it wasn't an adapter for the audio video cords. It's actually one just replaces that, and it goes into the back of your console, into the back of the TV, but you also have to plug it into a power supply. So that was the little extra icing on the cake with the adapter to hook the console up to the TV. But it looks pretty good. The N64 is not going to have the most modern graphics, but it still controls pretty well. Holding the N64 controller is pretty fun. I have a yellow controller, which is pretty cool. So, it was a pretty cool purchase, and really didn't have to spend too much money after trading in some games to get some really cool stuff. So it's going to be something where I can play from time to time. Hopefully going to push through some Banjo Kazooie here. I've already beat the first world. I'm on to the second world and making some progress there, and really, having a great time with it. That's one of my favorite video games of all time. And that's the first game I got with the N64 back in the day. So the nostalgia blast is really, really booming right there. So pretty fun. So catch me out there shopping for N64 games from time to time. I think the deal with the N64 games is they're kind of pricey, but they're still not even the price of a modern day game, and a lot of them are even $20 and under. So if you just want to find and you can even find them in okay condition. So I have a short list of games going on that I want to pick up out there in the wild or look on eBay, but I have a pretty good start to what I'm trying to do now. So I think my next two purchases will try to get a controller pack and try to get an expansion pack. So I can do some time trials in Mario Kart, and then I can play the campaign in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, which I already was doing some campaign in that, and it's extremely fun. I kind of forget how you do the skating controls with the yellow buttons. I don't know what they're called on there, but you can hit the up one to grind, the other ones are doing the trick. So it's just kind of really a blast from the past of doing these things, and it still functions pretty well, which is pretty insane. So it's extremely fun. Something I can play with another person one day. I have two controllers, and then something else in this journey. I've been checking out the Analog Pocket, or the Analog, that company Analog. They have the Analog Pocket and they have the Analog 3D coming out, which is a $250 version. It's all sold out for the pre-orders right now. It's releasing Q1 2025, and it's like a modern day N64. So it can play your old cartridges. It should be able to play everything, and it hooks directly into your TV and should be upgrading some of the visuals in there in some form or fashion. So it looks like a really cool thing. I don't know how well this N64 is going to hold up, but we're going to see. I think it works pretty well from the jump. One of the games, Mario Kart, when it really started up, I had to clean it a good bit and kind of shake it down in there really to get it to work, but it ended up working. So I've kind of been hearing that these carts can stay pretty in working condition for a long time, as long as you kind of keep them up. I have to clean them with like a Q-tip and some alcohol from time to time and things like that, but I think they're kind of built for longevity, and hopefully we'll be seeing that. I have like a 30-day return where I can return this stuff if it's not working properly. So I'll just be checking it, but I really haven't had any complaints with it yet. It's been a pretty good foray into some retro gaming. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some retro gaming in a bit here, but that's been my kind of crazy journey over here, finding a video game where you can actually just plug it in and play, and it's pretty amazing. So it's a pretty novel thing, which is pretty crazy these days. So I think it's going to be a good addition to my video game, not a collection, but my video game stuff that I have and that I use. And it's going to be really fun. So I'll keep you updated with my N64 happenings here on the show. Maybe one day I'll be purchasing an Analog Pocket or purchasing some really cool games, and we'll just have to see. So something fun to shop around for. N64. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say about that. But went to a really cool store about 15 minutes away from where I live. They have all sorts of old consoles and used games. I picked up a copy of Pokemon Moon for the Nintendo 3DS that didn't even come with the box. They had a bunch of loose games there that were pretty inexpensive, and I picked that up along with some of my trade-in credit that I got there. So it's really, really fun to be shopping on trade-in credit, and this is seemingly a good little retro blast. So we'll talk more about some retro blast here in a second. But the other games I've been playing this week have been The Witcher 3. I've been making some progress there still. I've been doing some missions for the witch, the blonde-haired witch, has me running around town fighting all these mice and dealing with wraiths and the wraith, her ex-boyfriend, and all this kind of crazy stuff. So the stories in this game are pretty wild. All the side missions have some pretty good content, and it's fun running around as the Witcher. And I actually got some in-game content, so I have some new, there was like a rewards section on the main menu if you have the Ultimate Edition, and just stuff I hadn't accepted yet. So I have all this new armor and weapons I can use, which has really been helping Geralt out, and it's been just really, really fun walking around in The Witcher. So I've been playing that. There is some pretty good cross-save stuff available in there. That's kind of where I got into the reward stuff. But if you go into the reward section, it kind of helps you link your game to your account. And if you have the your PlayStation and your Xbox, if you have them both linked together, if you own the game on both consoles, which Witcher 3 can be very inexpensive a lot of times. If you wanted to pick it up on another console to do so, you could, but you can save your file and you can pick it up through cross-save. So that's a really nice feature, and it worked seamlessly. So you just have to make sure you have the same exact edition of the game on each platform. If you have the higher edition, the complete edition on one platform and not on the other, you will not be able to transfer over a save from the higher edition to the lower one. So just something you want to recognize there. But a lot of the Witcher 3 stuff is pretty inexpensive to buy at this point in time, which is very nice. So I've been playing The Witcher 3. I think I'm going to continue playing that. And I don't have any other updates. I really like riding around on Roach. The fast travel stuff's nice in there. I'm getting more used to the combat and the Witcher sense stuff, and just really I'm getting more I'm kind of I'm past the tutorial spot and all the intro stuff, and I'm really kind of feeling like just when I jump in there, I'm ready to bust some moves and do some witchering. So it's been a really fun game, Witcher 3. So I've been playing that. So I've been playing a good bit of games this week, and I had my little retro journey and stuff like that. So it's felt like a pretty great week for video games in my world. I've been also playing some Astrobot, trying to finish that up before the end of the year, just finish it up for fun's sake. And I've been making some progress there. I need to get five more collectible guys so that I can play the final level in the last area. So I think there's still one more area, maybe that like the mystery world or something, but I'm in the last main animal constellation area, and I've completed all the missions, but I need to get more collectibles to move on. So that's where I'm at in Astrobot. But I'm having a great time with Astrobot, being reminded of how much fun it is, and even some of the challenging stuff is fun, even if there is some challenging stuff in there. I would say the majority of the game is more exploratory and fun and easy, but there is a good maybe 20% portion, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, that's actually difficult and requires you to restart. And I think the game does a good job of restarting you quickly and helping you get back in there. So Astrobot's going to be definitely up there for Game of the Year contention for Dep Lewis Show. And that's something else we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I'm going to probably play some more Astrobot, maybe even possibly finish it. And I don't know if I want to do some completionary stuff in there, but I'm trying to I don't know if I'm trying to switch up my video gaming habits a little bit, but trying to play less. I'm trying to play more of less is kind of my thing. So maybe I will play some more of Astrobot since I really have been enjoying it. Something else I played last night was some Fortnite. So got some friends of the show and friends in real life together, and we got online and played some Fortnite. First time in about a year. One of our friends was just back playing it, so we decided to get back in there. We played we had a trio going. We got a couple of second place finishes. Played some doubles in there too, and it was just, Fortnite's good. If you don't know what Fortnite is, it's a free to play. You don't have to pay for online. You just download the game. You can play with friends. You can play cross-platform, third-person shooter. You can play build mode, non-build mode. They have all sorts of cool skins you can buy. I have Rey from Star Wars is my only skin in that game and the main one I use. And just a really great time. The cross-play stuff is really good. I played on PlayStation 5. My friends were playing on Xbox. There was really no discrepancy there, and besides I guess voice chat stuff, but we were just talking on a FaceTime call anyways. But Fortnite, just an amazing game, continues to be great. They brought back the OG map here in December, and that's here to stay, and I don't really have any complaints with Fortnite. It's an extremely fun game. If you have people to play with, it's extra fun. I think that's the best way to play, and kind of the only way to play, but you can totally play solo. But just a really great game and impressive, and it's one of the most perfect games to play with other people and just kind of just have something to do and have fun. So Fortnite, great game, been playing that too, and maybe we'll continue to do so. We can find some time. So we've been, Mario partying a little bit. We got some Fortnite going, so been having some pretty good multiplayer sessions of stuff going. So it's been nice. I've been running the whole gamut of video gaming now, from retro to multiplayer to current gen. So it's been pretty fun to be a video gamer over here. So that's basically what I've been playing. My gaming plans. This has been the year of the RPG. I guess the only RPG I've been playing is Witcher 3, which I don't even know. It's more of an action RPG kind of thing. But it's been the year of the RPG. It's been a year of focus on the RPG genre, playing a lot of those games. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is my top one I'm trying to play right now. But I've decided. So year of the RPG has been a smashing success. I've had a whole lot of fun. I really do love the RPG genre. I think it might possibly be my favorite genre besides third-person action or platformers. So I think we're getting up there. But next year, I've decided what the year is going to be. It's going to be the year of the retro game. So if purchasing the N64 wasn't a hint there, I think it's the perfect segue into going the year of the retro game. So even with the way of the video game industry, where it's oftentimes good to wait to buy modern day games, I'm going to dip back into some old games and things I missed, things I haven't played, or things I haven't completed, and try to go back into some stuff. So I was talking about Pokemon Moon. I was talking about Banjo Kazooie. I bought Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. Hopefully I can finish that once I get the proper accessories for the console. But I have a whole bunch of retro games and even retro remasters, things like Metroid Prime Remastered, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, things like that. I'm going to kind of consider retro. So in my mind, I'm going to do anything before Xbox 360 or PS3. I think that's what I'm going to consider retro in my mind. So that's kind of the PS2, Xbox original era. One of my, main consoles or first consoles of having my own, getting my Xbox was one of my favorite gifts of all time, and getting Halo and things like that. So year of the retro game, I don't know if we're going to include 360, PS3. I think that's my thought. We're going to go before that will be retro, and of course we're going to be having some N64 in there, and some 3DS and things like that. And any kind of old game is going to be retro. So we're going to be focusing on old games. So next year for the Dep Lewis Show is going to be Year of the Retro Game. So I'm pretty glad to decide that, and I am very excited about that. All the possibilities and potential and fun to have their retro gaming. So we're going to have a nice little mix here in the what I've been playing section. So that's the plan. And the other plan for this year is to have the Dep Lewis Show Awards. And that award show is going to be on December 8th. So it's going to be on a normal Sunday podcast, but it's going to be the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2024. And I'm going to tell you what the best game of the year is. I'm going to tell you what the best game from prior year is, and maybe do a few other categories as well. I might pick my favorite console of the year that I've been using, and I might do my favorite other podcast of the year. Those are the other ones I'm thinking of so far. But the most important one to me is game of the year, and you're going to be getting that here on the Dep Lewis Show on December 8th, 2024 for the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2024. So pretty exciting stuff. I have to get my thoughts together there. I still don't know 100% what the game of the year is for me. I'm still deciding that. I have a general idea, and I'm just not sure. So it's not like prior years where I've been screaming all year what the best game is, like Splatoon 3. I was just yelling the whole year that Splatoon 3 is the best game of the year. And this year has been a little bit different. So I think it's a good mix of games, more so than just one that I really like. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but I'll be ready to tell you what the game of the year is for the Dep Lewis Show Awards on December 8th, 2024. So, just put that on your calendar for sure. And I'm going to be excited to do that. So that's everything I've been playing. That's the intro to the show. That's what I've been playing. That's my retro journey. That's my current gen journey. That's my announcement of next year is the Year of the Retro Game on the Dep Lewis Show. And then the game of the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2024 is coming up on December 8th, 2024. So that's everything you need to know about me. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back from the midsection. We're going to tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So everything you need to know out there is going to be in this midsection. So come back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 104. This is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So the first thing I want to tell you about is an update to PlayStation Portal. So that's the device that launched over a year ago, December 15th, 2023. The price is still $199.99 US dollars, so $200 US dollars. And there is a new system update available everywhere now. So the PlayStation Portal remote player is evolving with a new system update. So the first thing there that is happening that is official is a refinement in the audio experience. So speaker audio output adjustment to make the volume lower when the audio level is set to minimum. You will now be able to adjust settings of your PlayStation Link device from the PS Portal settings menu, allowing you to optimize the volume and side tone volume. So I guess some quality of life improvements there on the volume stuff. And there's also an update that will also include a beta version of a new feature that many fans have been asking for, and that is support for cloud streaming on PlayStation 5 Portal. So when the update is live, PlayStation Plus Premium members, so the update is live right now, PlayStation Plus Premium members are able to participate in a beta for cloud streaming on PlayStation Portal, allowing select PS5 games in the PlayStation Plus catalog to be streamed directly from our servers, even without a PS5 console. So the news there is, if you didn't want to buy a PlayStation 5 and you really were into cloud gaming, you could buy a $200 PlayStation Portal device. You could subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium, and you're on there cooking. You're playing games, and I've heard that it actually works pretty well. I guess you want to judge of how strong your internet is. I think that's probably the first question you need to ask yourself. Where are you going to be playing this mostly? How strong is the internet? I think if you're really confident in the strength of your internet, I think this is a good purchase. It's kind of what I've heard from across the internet, and I've heard that the streaming games actually kind of work better than some of the remote play stuff. So pretty surprising. I've had kind of hit or miss success with remote play. I do it from time to time, and my computer and my PlayStation are 5 feet apart from each other, and I have pretty good internet that's wired into the back of the PlayStation, and it doesn't even work that well. So it works okay. I don't think it's an ideal way to play, but if I've thought myself about purchasing this, I just don't think I have enough of a use case for a handheld to use in my place. That I have other handhelds. I just don't know. This would be something I'd like to have, but it's just not completely necessary for me. But I think this is a cool update to it. So, what else? Features available during the beta. Stream select PS5 games in the PlayStation Plus game catalog, over 120 PlayStation 5 games. Streaming up to 1080p, 60 frames per second. DualSense wireless controller features, including haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, speakers, touchpad, and motion sensor. Also, PlayStation Cloud storage. So, pretty giant upgrade to this handheld platform, and I've heard pretty good things, and this is a great update to it. So I think this is good news for people that currently have it, and I think this is going to sell some of these as well. So I believe these are still able to be purchased. I don't think they're been out of stock, but they're $200 US dollars if you want to play a PlayStation Portal, and there's some pretty good updates going on to it. So maybe we'll see some more updates to it in the future. We've had rumors of an Xbox handheld coming out. Maybe it's more of a dedicated handheld where you can run native games on it, but I've been looking at some handheld stuff, even with looking through these retro things, and they have all these new modern handhelds you can buy that run retro games on them. So there's some pretty cool stuff out there in the world. So I think I think it's smart that the PlayStation is trying to keep up with some features and upgrade their device, because the handheld market is becoming very saturated with cool stuff out there. So you really have to step your game up there, in my opinion. So the PlayStation Portal, new update live now. You have to be a PlayStation Plus Premium subscriber to take advantage of that, but there's a lot of those. So, hope you're enjoying your PlayStation Portal out there. So some more Sony kind of talking news. They are in talks to buy Kazooie, the parent company of Elden Ring developer From Software. So this seems pretty likely. There seems like there's been some handshaky things that have been confirmed. Kazooie has a majority stake in From Software, who develops properties like Dark Souls, Armored Core, and Elden Ring, if you ever heard of those. They're also a key feature in manga publishing. From Software's early history was spent developing exclusively for PlayStation consoles before the company eventually went multi-platform. So there is some precedent here for them doing a lot of business with Sony already. 2015, Bloodborne is one of the most popular games in From Software's portfolio. So that's a pretty big dog in their portfolio. Just wanted to mention that. And Kazooie Corporation has confirmed a recent report concerning a possible acquisition by Sony. There allegedly has been an initial letter of intent submitted, which is basically the first step towards a merger or acquisition. So an agreement could be reached within the coming weeks. So you can just listen to the Dep Lewis Show, and I'll keep you up to date with all the best video game news weekly. So I'll keep you up to date if anything happens officially here with Sony and Kazooie, but seems like some pretty big business dealings is going on here with the parent company of From Software. So that is the big giant news here that is catching everybody's attention. The parent company of developer From Software is in talks to be purchased by Sony. So a pretty big move there. The last little bit from Sony, the PlayStation Network, the PlayStation Store, there's a Black Friday sale going on with unmissable deals. As I mentioned earlier, Thanksgiving is coming up in the United States next week, so there's a Black Friday deal going on also across the internet. But I really do think these are pretty fun to, if you missed out on some games and really want to pick them up, these digital sales are pretty good if you want to buy some digital games. But my thoughts are a little bit switching from buying digital and trying to buy some physical games. But I think if you're in the current gen, even buying a physical disc, it's not going to guarantee you have the game on the disc. So there is some merit to buying these digital games, and if you can get them on the cheap, I think that is a huge benefit to us as the gamer. So PlayStation Store has the Black Friday sale going on until December 2nd, 2024. So you have over a week. Save up to 70% on some games. Discover great savings on incredible games. So I just want to remind you that this is a great time to be picking up some video games if you missed them. I think I saw Spyro was $13. Witcher, like I talked about earlier, I think was $13. There's some discounts on some current gen games. I think Persona 3 Reload might have been on sale. I think Metaphor ReFantazio was on sale. Maybe a lot of the Game of the Year contender kind of games are going to be on sale. So pretty cool stuff. So Black Friday sales, go check them out. There's some good digital stuff going on if you want to buy a digital game. All right, video game release that happened last week was S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 for the Xbox Series X and S and Game Pass. The initial release of S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 was on for Microsoft Windows on September 5th, 2024, so a couple months ago, on developers GSC Game World. In this game, you can discover the vast Chernobyl exclusion zone full of dangerous enemies, deadly anomalies, and powerful artifacts. Unveil your own epic story as you make your way to the heart of Chernobyl. Make your choices wisely, as they will determine your fate in the end. So, this game's available now. I did watch the streamer Rachel K play some of this for a day, and my thoughts on this are I really didn't have too much excitement about this game. The world had a little bit of hype going around it, so I had some interest, but I just don't think this is my cup of tea. It's a pretty strict survival game and first-person shooter, so you really can't take too many hits. It seems like the enemies are a little bit bullet spongy. I think there's actually been some problems going on with this game of the launch. I don't know if it's in its most stable or best working condition, so maybe have some caution there, especially if you're trying to play it on the Xbox. I think it's running better over on the PC side of things, but I don't even know if that's completely the case. So I just kind of want to say I think S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 has come out a little bit of a disappointment in my eyes, but I really just more think it's not my cup of tea. it's definitely kind of scary, first person shooter. You're surviving, and there's also some like crazy enemies in there as well, more so than just people. So there's some like monstery kind of enemies. So it's a little bit of a spook survival first person shooter fest. So not really my cup of tea, like I've said 9 times in this game, but I did watch some gameplay of this. It looks okay. I don't know. I think it's kind of another one. Wait and see on these games. You want to wait for these games to get patched, so maybe play them a little more down the road. But I think there's probably some people pretty excited for Stalker 2, and that is available right now. All right, Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo Switch's online service has a new game available in the Game Boy section of their backwards or their catalog that's available, and Donkey Kong Land is now available. The 1995 platform game developed by Rare and published by Nintendo. It condenses the side-scrolling gameplay of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System game Donkey Kong Country for the handheld Game Boy with different level design and boss fights. So I might utilize Nintendo Switch Online in the year of the retro game to play some retro games. I don't know completely how I'm going to tackle this quite yet, but I'm going to kind of lean on trying to have the physical game, but if not, I'm going to try to play a remaster or go into like Nintendo Switch Online and play some of these, or I don't know. I'm going to really try to figure it out here. It's going to be a fun year of the retro game. Still have a little bit more of this year to close out, so I guess I got to quit thinking about the year of the retro game until next year a little bit. But, just getting some planning here together. So Nintendo Switch Online Donkey Kong Land is now available on the Game Boy side of things. Stardew Valley, a great video game. This is not a video game related update, but their second Stardew Valley concert tour has been announced, and I love the music from Stardew Valley. I listen to it, I don't want to say daily, but definitely weekly. It's in my main rotation of things I like to put on. I just shuffle the soundtrack and put it on in the background, and it's just so pleasant and joyful and catchy and just really, really great music. And I think seeing a symphony of it would be really, really cool. I think it would be super impressive, and so that's why I'm telling you about this, Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons. This tour will feature a larger orchestra, a different musical program, and more visual features. So check their website for more info at StardewValleyConcert.com. I just think it's a wonderful video game and soundtrack and developer and team and all that kind of stuff. Great video game, Stardew Valley, and their Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons. The second Stardew Valley concert tour has been announced. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about here in the midsection about what's going on around the video game world is some Game of the Year stuff. So, Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year Awards, or the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2024. It's coming up on December 8th, 2024. But other outlets have already been dabbling into the Game of the Year stuff. So Escape, a podcast I'm a huge fan of, has released their Game of the Year podcast, and you can watch the video on YouTube as well, Escape. It's around 5 hours and 45 minutes of debating and deliberation and discussion and joyous talks about video games, and just very fun. Dan, Mary, and Mike and Judge Jake are just a really great crew, and I think it's their 5th year doing this, and just a very enjoyable watch. So go check out Escape. Spoiler alert for right now for who won, and Balatro won their Game of the Year. So their list was, for Game of the Year, was Balatro, Helldivers 2, Astrobot, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Wild Bastards, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Crow Country, UFO 50, and Metaphor ReFantasio. So most of their Game of the Years have been pretty unanimous for the first game, and this was the same case this year. Balatro, they didn't really have to argue about it too much. They really just had to kind of discuss the other parts of the list, but just a very enjoyable time, and Balatro is definitely going to be high up there for my Game of the Year too, because it is a great video game. At the outlet MinMax with 2 N's, they just did a giant charity stream last night, so congratulations to them. They raised over, when I saw, $55,000 for single moms, some type of charity, a local charity or something near them that supports single moms. So they were having a crazy time on the internet, doing all sorts of crazy things, drawing on their faces, wearing outfits, being characters, bringing in guests, and Dan Reichert showed up to that. So I watched a couple hours of that for sure. I may go back and watch some of the VOD. The Great Sarapods was on there. It's just a really, really great time. They were doing some funny stuff on there and raising money for a good cause. And they auctioned off a bunch of cool stuff from Game Informer and some cool like collector's editions of games and things like that. So just a really enjoyable thing to watch. And they also did their prologue to the Game of the Year episode last week. So on the regular episode of the MinMax show, they did a prologue to the Game of the Year, discussing kind of where they're sitting, what games they're looking at, what games their cohorts need to play more of for the Game of the Year discussion. But their discussion is going to be it's going to be multiple weeks, and it's going to be close to the end of December and into the first week of January. So just wanted to keep you up to date with what's going on with MinMax with 2 N's, since I really do like that outlet, and you want to go listen to what they're going to pick for their 210. So that's the format for their game of the year. They do the 210. So it's basically 20 games of the year, and they have to decide as a team which ones they're going to rank in there. So pretty fun list, and I think the addition of the extra 10 in there for the 210s, I think, is a really cool, fun thing that they do, and just allows for a really lengthy, long, great discussion, and gets a good list of that can really support a lot of different genres and people's affinities and things like that. So really, really cool. So MinMax, a great outlet. The Game Awards, another outlet by Jeff Keighley, and not an outlet, but one of the bigger Game Award shows of the year. Definitely gets a lot of press. It's happening on December 12th, 2024. This one is discussed by a lot of people, so that's why I want to bring it up. And their nominees for the Game of the Year, which always draw a bunch of discussion each year. But their nominees for this year are Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth, Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. So I think a lot of really great games in there. A lot of great games in there I've played. So Astrobot, Balatro, Final Fantasy VII, and Metaphor are all things that I put my hands on. I think a lot of people have been arguing about Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, DLC being involved in this. I think that's a little bit of a judgment call there on how you feel. I don't think I can really decide one way or the other what I would do, but I think a little bit lean towards DLC. Maybe shouldn't be in the Game of the Year discussions. Just in general, maybe DLC can be in its own type of category, and that's a perfect way for it to shine. But, hey, this is their award show. They can kind of do whatever they want to. I think this one's open up to the press and outlets or something like that. Not the Dep Lewis Show. That would be a conflict of interest from the great Dep Lewis Show awards. But I think MinMax has been involved in this. I think Nextlander, which is a great podcast, that they were not involved in this. But it's some type of a committee, some type of voting system. Jeff Gerstmann was involved in it, of deciding the games of the year. So it should be some type of representation of what the people want. But those are their nominees for the game of the year. And that one will be definitely discussed a lot. And that's taking place on December 12th. So the Game Awards by Jeff Keighley will be watched by many. And that's their choices for game of the year. So I just want to keep you up to date with other game of the year stuff, since it's one of the most wonderful times of the year. There will be games for ranking and blotting and thanking the developers. So really great video games going on out there in the world. So that's going to wrap up the midsection of the show. That's everything you need to know around the video game world. We talked about the update to the PlayStation Portal that's available now. We talked about Sony and talks to buy Katakawa, and I'll keep you up to date if that becomes official. Go check out some Black Friday deals across the world. But a PlayStation Store had some good ones going on. Stalker 2 is available now. Maybe proceed with caution would be my advice there. Donkey Kong Land is now available on Nintendo Switch Online. Stardew Valley has their second Stardew Valley concert tour announced, so go check that out if you want to see some dates, and maybe I will. And then I talked about some Game of the Year at some other places like Firescape, MinMax, and the Game Awards. So, just a really great time to be a video gamer, and that is going to wrap up the midsection of the show. So that's all the video game talk I have for you this week. We're going to take one final break, and we're going to come back for the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk to you about anything I want to outside the video game world. So we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. I'm going to tell you about my thoughts on the Carolina Panthers today. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on that and tell you about what's going on with my other teams. So listen to this music and come back after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 104, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. So the Carolina Panthers, the best team in the NFL. I actually misspoke earlier and said they only had 2 wins. They have 3 wins now. They're 3-7 after their trip to Germany, and they had a bye week last week. So hopefully they're feeling very refreshed and ready to rock and roll, as people would say. And they're going to play the Chiefs today at home in Charlotte at 1 o'clock. It's only 2 hours away from real time of me recording this podcast, so I am very excited to watch the game. I'm not going to the game because the prices were a little bit steep, and I am having some caution about how the Panthers are going to perform against the Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I think it's going to be a really tough matchup, but I think if the Panthers can contend in any way or be competitive, I think it's going to be an amazing sign for the team going forward. I think this should be a good watermark test kind of thing for the Panthers, a litmus test to see really what they're kind of made of, kind of see what some of these guys are bringing to the table. They've activated Jonathan Brooks, the running back from Texas who hasn't played yet, who's supposed to be pretty electrifying out there, and excited to see him. I think he's third or fourth on the depth chart though, but maybe he'll get some reps today and just hopefully have a competitive game against the Chiefs. But I'm not really too hopeful. I think the Chiefs are favored by 10.5. I would have to say they're going to cover if I wanted to put some money on it. Please gamble responsibly out there, but I do hope the Panthers are going to put up a fight. So people are going pretty crazy across North Carolina so far today. It's been a pretty good energy out there in the world. Definitely seen some Chiefs fans around, and we're going to see what's going to happen at 1 o'clock today. So Panthers playing the Chiefs today at 1. Pretty big time. We're going to see if T Swift's coming to town. It seems unlikely, but is T Swift going to make the trip to see the Panthers, see their field? They got the old logo back on the field. The Panthers are wearing some cool uniforms today, so everything is set up for a great time. I think Adam Thielen's back today. Bryce Young's starting. We're going to see what they got. I mean, most of the squads there that they got to play with. I think Miles Sanders has been put on the inactive list, or the injured reserve, I think, is one. But like I said, they just brought up Jonathan Brooks, so we have a little bit of a stable of running backs going, and that's been a strong suit. So we're going to see what the Panthers got today at 1 o'clock versus the Chiefs, and the next week is in Charlotte at home versus the Bucs at 4:05 in the afternoon, and hopefully that'll be actually a really good competitive game. Baker Mayfield has the Bucs playing pretty well, and that is a division rival. Just want to see what the Panthers have here at the end of the year and see if they can get a couple more wins. That'd be nice. So go Panthers. The other things going on with my favorite teams, I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan, half and half, or I'm a semi-Charlotte Hornets fan just because I live in North Carolina now. Last Sunday, they were at the Cavs. The Hornets lost 114 to 128. Tuesday, they were at Brooklyn. The Hornets lost 115 to 116. Thursday, they played Detroit. The Hornets won 123 to 121 in overtime. Saturday at the Bucs, the Hornets lost 119 to 125, so a pretty big losing week. I think LaMelo's still been cooking pretty big out there, but the Hornets are underperforming in the win-loss category. And I kind of think that is going to be the case. I don't know if they have the mettle to be quite in the playoffs yet. I just don't know how. They have a new coach. I think they really have to figure out their roster, figure out their guys, and they need to get the I guess they got LaMelo and Brandon Miller. I think Bridges has been hurt. And then I think other than that, well, they got Trey Mann. I don't know. It might just be kind of a growing year for the Hornets, but they haven't really been exceeding expectations, I would say. I think LaMelo kind of has been, but overall it hasn't been resulting in any wins. Next week, the Hornets play the Magic, the Heat, the Knicks, and the Hawks. So that game against the Hawks is in Charlotte next Saturday, so at 6 o'clock, and I'm going to be going to that game as a Hawks fan. So that's my favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks. And since I last talked to you last Sunday, they were at Portland. The Hawks lost 110 to 114, so a lot of similar stories here with my Hornets feelings. I'm going to apply those to the Hawks as well. Monday at Sacramento, the Hawks won 109 to 108. Wednesday at Golden State, the Hawks lost 97 to 120, a beatdown. Friday at Chicago, the Hawks lost 122 to 136. That was kind of a beatdown. And next week, the Hawks are playing Dallas. Monday, they're playing the Cavs twice, and then the Hornets in Charlotte. So I have a gentleman's bet with the friend of the show and friend of real life, Pab, of the Hawks Mavs game coming up on Monday. If the Mavs cover this, we're doing the spread. So if the Mavs cover, I have to listen to a playlist of Pab's choice, 10 songs, and he has a terrible taste in music, one of the worst. Pick some of the most catchy, terrible songs ever, and he's going to put them on a playlist, and I'm going to have to listen to them, and like record a video of myself and send it to him. And then if the Hawks win, if the Mavs don't cover, the Hawks win. The Hawks, if the Mavs don't cover, he has to buy me a ticket to go see the Hawks and the Hornets. So a pretty good bet, a pretty big gamble on my part. It's a monetary gamble for Pab, but it's a pretty big gamble for my mental well-being and my livelihood of having to have terrible songs in my head and stuck in my head for many moons after I listen to them. So he has a good knack for knowing which songs get stuck in my head, and he's going to make a fire playlist in that regard. So I'm a little bit scared to go Hawks on Monday, especially, and then go Hawks in person. I'll probably be in the Hornets arena wearing some Hornets gear, being an undercover fan, because I don't want to cause any ruckus out there. So go Hawks though. All right, my favorite Major League Baseball team is the Atlanta Braves. It's the off season right now. The only good thing to report there is Chris Sale has won the Cy Young Award. So veteran pitcher the Braves brought over has been a smashing success, and I'm looking forward to next year with Chris Sale a whole lot. He had a wonderful year last year, definitely deserving of the Cy Young Award, the big strong lefty, and just exciting to have him as Atlanta Brave. And the other person, Max Fried, I would love the Braves to pay him. I think they should. I've been kind of saying that for a bunch of weeks now in a row since the season has ended. He's an unrestricted free agent. I think the Braves should pay him. We've seen other players leave and have great success. We just saw Freddie Freeman, who was a stalwart with the team, but a staple, a cornerstone, and he's still doing the same thing over there in Los Angeles and winning championships. So please play Max Fried. I think it's really, really important to keep some guys around from time to time. I think it's really important to drop the bag of money off from time to time. I think he's the perfect candidate. He's been with the team for a long time. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's a bona fide starter. He's a bona fide ace. He's a good locker room guy. He's smart. He's a good person, seeming like across, just Atlanta and everything. He seems like just a great ambassador for the Braves. I think you should pay him the money at Alexandropoulos. Pay Max Fried the big bag of money. Drop it off on his doorstep right now. Do it. All right, so for the Braves, spring training begins on February 22nd, 2025, and the first game of the regular season is at the Padres March 27, 2025, and I cannot wait for baseball season. Especially with the cold coming through, it's really making me miss my favorite sport in the universe, Major League Baseball, and all the warm weather to come. But hey, we got the winter coming on. There's some good things with the winter too, and I'm going to be here to tell you about all the things in the sports world that are interesting to me each week on the Dep Lewis Show. So, that's my sports roundup for the day. The main thing I want to say is go Panthers. We talked about the Hornets, we talked about the Hawks, and we talked about the Braves. So next week I'll be able to tell you about how the Hawks and Hornets game was in person, and hopefully have some good stuff to report to you from the Panthers today. So, that's signing off on all my sports talk here. And that's going to actually be signing off on the entire show today. So just thank you for listening. Thank you for being a listener. I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning because that really does help me out. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So just a reminder, find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. And then also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show. Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you'd like to support this show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a listener. Hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. Hope you watch some football today. Hope you get to play some video games. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. Hopefully, eat a lot of good food, see some friends and family, maybe have a drink or two, maybe watch some football, maybe kick your feet up and relax and not have to go to work. Shout out to all the retail people having to work through these tough times with the holidays and these busy, crazy times. And the delivery people, shout out to them. Shout out to all the video gamers. Shout out to all the Game of the Year stuff. And just have a wonderful week out there in the world. And please come back next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show because that's where I'll be. And just thank you, and I will see you next time.